Chancellor, how likely is it that we see a general election or a second referendum at this point?
Well, the government doesn't want to see either happening, and we will be doing everything we can to persuade our parliamentary colleagues that the deal that the Prime Minister has negotiated, or some variant on it, is the right way to go forward, to deliver on the Brexit referendum decision, but to do so in a way that protects our economy and ensures a prosperous future for the British people.
So there is a vote on January 29th. Let's say that gets passed. Do we have enough time to implement the changes to make sure that there's a smooth transition?
Well, there are likely to be a series of amendments tabled by backbenchers on January the 29th. Personally, I don't think January the 29th has to be the sort of high noon moment. There will be other opportunities for Parliament to express its view. What we're trying to do is build a coalition around a common ground, a common way forward, because we have to come together, we have to compromise, and it's a great British tradition to compromise and find a solution rather than standing throwing rocks at each other from different sides of the argument.
Okay, but the second scenario is that the vote actually does not go through on January 29th, that the Prime Minister loses it quite badly. What are the options then?
Well, the government's commitment is to try to make this deal work, to improve the terms of it by talking to our European Union colleagues, to talk to colleagues in Parliament, to persuade them of the logic of what we're doing here, and to seek to reassure them about the very real but specific concerns that different parliamentarians have. There's no good alternative to the deal. Leaving with no deal is a very bad outcome for the UK, but not leaving would be also a very, very bad outcome that would undermine our democracy and destabilise our political settlement in the UK.
What is the chance of a no-deal Brexit? Are the markets misunderstanding this?
Well, I'm very confident that we will achieve a deal, and I'm confident about that because of the logic. It is actually in the interest of everybody that we reach a deal. It may not be a deal which is everybody's first choice, but the alternatives to leaving with a deal are very stark indeed. And I think that over the coming days and weeks, common sense will prevail. The country will come together around a compromise solution.
But, Chancellor, as an outsider, it looks like actually everyone is trying to peddle their book, right? If you are a Remainer, you want a second referendum. If you're a pro-Brexit, you want maybe a hard Brexit. What will actually focus the minds of parliamentarians?
The ticking clock. Look, I know for business leaders, the deadline is only 2 months away, and that seems awfully close. But in the way political negotiations happen, we are still at the phase where people are camped on their preferred outcome. And the truth is, too many people have not yet moved from their preferred outcome to an acceptable outcome that allows a compromise. And that's the process that will happen over the next days and weeks, is people recognizing that they cannot get their preferred outcome because there isn't a majority for it, and that we have to find a common ground that we can all live with, we can all accept, which represents a sensible way forward for the country and protects the interests and living standards of the British people.
But is there a 30% chance that we get a no-deal Brexit?
Well, I'm not going to put a percentage on it. Clearly, there is a risk of a no deal, and that risk is very real, and people need to remember that. Equally, people on the other side need to recognise that there is a large body of opinion in Parliament that would seek to avoid no deal at all costs, including putting at risk Brexit itself. And the right answer here is to find a compromise in the middle around a deal which avoids both of those extremes and allows Britain to proceed prosperously to a sensible future relationship with the European Union after we've left.
Has the Cabinet thought about a second referendum as a plan B?
Well, look, there are real problems around the idea of second referendum, and there's clearly no majority for that in Parliament. What we have to focus on is ideas that are likely ultimately to be supported by a majority in Parliament, and our judgment is that there is no majority for the second referendum idea.
So what is there a majority for?
Well, at the moment, nothing, and that's the problem. Parliament knows what it's against, but it hasn't worked out what it's for. And as I said, we're still at the stage of the argument where people are promoting their ideal outcome rather than compromising towards a common ground that we can all agree on.
Okay, if we don't find a solution, or if we don't find something that Parliament would be in favour of with the majority, would you be in favour of delaying Article 50?
Well, that is not the government's preferred outcome. We're clear that we want to leave on the 29th of March. We believe we can leave on the 29th of March. And look, the problem is this. Actually, you asked me a few moments ago what it is that will bring people together around a compromise, and it is the ticking clock, the sense of a deadline there. If you were to remove that sense of an immediate deadline, you take the pressure off people, and you're only going to reinforce their inclination to keep promoting their preferred outcomes rather than seeking compromise.
Chancellor, if there was a delay, would it be a betrayal of the British people?
What would be a betrayal of the British people is if we either didn't deliver Brexit for them or we delivered Brexit in a way that undermined their prosperity. And I believe a no-deal Brexit would undermine Britain's prosperity, and that is not what people voted for. They heard in the referendum campaign from the leaders of the Leave campaign that we could leave, we could get a deal with the European Union, we could have a smooth and seamless exit. And that, I think, is what the majority of people in Britain want to see.
But is it not fair to actually ask the people what kind of Brexit they want now? Because that is unclear.
Well, it's not unclear to me. It's clear that there is a majority of people in Britain who want to see us navigate this process in good order, in an orderly way, a smooth passage to a future arrangement with the European Union that allows us to continue trading together, to protect jobs in the UK, but also means we are outside the European Union, delivering on and honouring the decision of the people in the referendum.
This is fiction, but if there were a referendum today, which way do you think it would go?
I'm not going to speculate on a hypothetical situation. The British people voted in June 2016. It was close, but we have a political system where winner takes all. And it was clear what the outcome of that decision was. Our job is to implement that decision of the British people, but I take it very clearly as our responsibility to do that in a way that protects our living standards and delivers a smooth transition to a new relationship with the European Union, because it's very clear to me from the campaign that took place that people were not voting for a disruptive, chaotic Brexit. They were voting for a smooth and orderly Brexit. Will
we have a general election this year? How likely is that?
I don't think so. I don't think a general election will resolve this issue. Both political parties, bluntly, are divided on this issue. So this is not about a clash of the parties. If it was, it would in some ways be easier to resolve. It's about a genuine division among people of all political persuasions about the right way to go forward to deliver on the decision of the British people.
But, Chancellor, is it fair to say that the Prime Minister now has a choice between her country or her party?
Well, the Prime Minister is very clear and always has been very clear that she will do what is in the interests of the country. And clearly we believe that what we're putting forward as a government, as the way forward, is in the best interest of the country, and we will always act in the best interest of the country.
How many questions from chief executives do you get about market reaction and pound?
Surprisingly few. I mean, look, you will have talked to a lot of chief executives here. Frankly, there is a great gulf of misunderstanding between business and politics. And for many people in business, this is all terribly simple. Why don't you just do what needs to be done and get it over with? What I've been trying to explain to business leaders here is that, of course, we have to address the needs of the economy because people need jobs, they need prosperity. But we also have to protect and support the political consensus that underpins our system, because if we betray the political decisions that the people have made, that would also be very destabilizing for our country, and ultimately destabilizing the political system undermines our economic prosperity in the future. So the challenge we've got here is we've got to land both at once, the political and the economic objectives.
But so do you worry about social unrest? Is this what we're talking about?
Not social unrest, but political discontent with the political system, fueling populism and a sense that the political system isn't working. There are plenty of people out there willing to stoke the fires, and we need to show people that the political system can deliver for them and can do it in a responsible way that protects their living standards as well as respecting their political decisions.